This is day number 5 of the Iran war. And one of the points of ponderance, and what I've been thinking about a little bit, of course, I'm trying to pay attention in great detail to what's been happening. I've been tuned into Al Jazeera. I find their reporting on this to be remarkable, nothing short of remarkable. And one of the points of ponderance is, how much is this costing? How much is this war or this invasion, depending upon how you want to characterize it, how much is it costing the taxpayers of the United States of America? And moreover, what's it costing people who don't live in the United States? And I think that's a very, very fair and very, very pertinent question. Now, developments are such that, as you are probably well aware, the Strait of Hormuz, which is one of the largest shipping lanes in the Middle East, there's about 20% of the world's oil supply goes through the Strait of Hormuz, and about the estimates that I have heard is about 30% of the liquid natural gas also goes through that strait, and that strait has ostensibly been paralyzed. The reaction of the ships that are already in the Strait of Hormuz is many of them have just dropped anchor. Most of them have dropped anchor, and just their posture is, we're not going anywhere, because if we start moving, we become a target. And Iran has threatened, and not only have they threatened, but in certain instances they've actually struck oil tankers, and ostensibly they've told the shipping companies, the strait is closed, so don't come here because you're going to become a target. Now, Donald Trump has decided that he thought it would be a good idea if he opened a branch of government that funded insurance. Because a lot of these shipping companies, they can no longer get insurance. Their insurance, in many cases, or in most cases, has been canceled completely. So Donald Trump, I think he's aware of the potential impact of the paralysis of this Strait of Hormuz, and he's come to realize, and I'm not going to give him credit for thinking about this in advance, but I think he's come to realize that the economic impacts here of this strait being closed can be absolutely devastating, not only to the region, but to the entire world. And he's saying, okay, what we're going to do is the United States government is going to give you a brand new policy called Swim with a Buddy. And what Swim with a Buddy means is, if necessary, we will give you a naval escort to allow you to go through the Strait of Hormuz. The practicality of that is mind-bogglingly on the low end of the totem pole. The United States government hasn't got a ship to escort every ship that comes through there, be it they're bearing oil or liquefied natural gas or just general cargo. I mean, this is a busy, narrow, very narrow and very busy waterway. So the effects upon the world economy can be very, very devastating. And I dare say that I don't think a lot of shipping companies are going to say, oh, you can give us insurance at a reasonable price. Oh, we'll take it, and we'll just be on our merry way. And look, there's real people involved here, and there's captains of ships who ostensibly are responsible for the safety and health and well-being of their crew members. So, insurance or not, I don't think there's a lot of companies, if any at all, that are just going to say, oh, Yeah, well, you know what? We got insurance. We really don't care about the people on our ship. Yeah, the show must go on. I mean, there's just a lot of moving parts here. You have you have the dynamics of the ship's crew and captain who are saying, "Oh yeah, you want we know beyond a shadow of a doubt that we could possibly be under siege and fire here, and we can be catching missiles with our teeth. But we have government insurance from the United States of America, so let's just march through. This will be fun." It's nothing like that, and I think that was a very half-hearted attempt by Donald Trump to remediate a situation that was very extremely serious. So I started to do some musing and or not musing, research, and I tried to get a semblance of what this is actually costing. This war is in day 5. Donald Trump says, "Oh well, it's going to last 4 or 5 weeks," and the estimates that I have heard about the direct costs to the U.S. taxpayer comes in somewhere about $250 billion within that 4 or 5 week period. Notwithstanding that, every day that this continues beyond that, I think that it's the money tree is just going to continue to be shaken, and the United States taxpayer are going to continue to pay for a war that, according to polls, not very many of them wanted this, and this is shaping up to be a very unpopular move by Donald Trump. So even if we went with $250 billion, that satisfies the accountants who may have a pocket protector and a calculator. But I think it goes beyond that, beyond the $250 billion. There's something that I characterize as being legacy costs. Let me explain. When Vladimir Putin came onto the world scene and very carelessly and recklessly invaded the country of Ukraine, one of the first things that he did was he launched missiles at grain silos in port on the Black Sea. So he was actually attacking people's food supply, is what he was doing. And I mean, I looked at this and I said, "Oh boy, there's the cost of grain globally is going to escalate, and it's going to go higher. And guess who pays for that?" Well, the answer was found 2 weeks later after this news broke about him attacking grain supply and grain silos in the Black Sea. 2 weeks later, I walk into a local bakery and I find out, that the cost of a loaf of bread is going up 50 cents. Just as I thought it would. You see, when the world sneezes, or when one country sneezes, the world says Gesundheit. It's just the way it is. And that legacy cost of 50 cents, that from that day forward we started paying, that never went away. I've been paying an extra 50 cents for that loaf of bread every single week since Vladimir Putin invaded Ukraine in 5 years ago. So that's a legacy cost. Now, as you all probably are aware, because of this situation in the Strait of Hormuz, as well as the instability all through the Gulf states that's been introduced by Donald Trump and Benjamin Netanyahu, there are going to be, there is, I'm not going to say there's going to be, there is already supply chain disruptions. And those supply chain disruptions are going to result in price inflation. Not only for oil and gas, but for other goods that are supplied and shipped through that strait. And this is going to create upward pressure on prices around the globe. So the American taxpayers are not the only ones who are paying this purported or alleged $250 billion. We are all paying for it. The price of gasoline has gone up. Metro Toronto, last night, I believe it went up 6 cents. Now tonight they're reporting now that a gallon or a liter of gasoline will go up a further 2 cents tonight, and on we go. Now Donald Trump says, "Oh, don't worry about a thing. There's nothing to see here, folks. Once this is over, which should be very, very quickly, prices will return to normal." I don't doubt for a minute that if there was a complete ceasefire, that there would be some softening of oil and gas prices. Sure, that part I agree with, but it will not change the fact that every human being on this planet is going to pay more for their goods that may have been shipped through the Strait of Hormuz, or just globally. It's going to impact everything. And, those legacy costs are going to continue. We got dragged into this by Donald Trump and Benjamin Netanyahu. And by the way, I just like to say this, that, I have observed through most of my adult life, whenever Benjamin Netanyahu was in power, pretty much he's like a cuckoo clock. He comes out not hourly or on the half hour, but he comes out every 2 weeks and says Iran is 2 weeks away from developing a nuclear weapon. Donald Trump actually bit into the narrative. And then Donald Trump came out and said, "Oh, well, I think it was, I think it was Marco Rubio that came out and said, well, we had intelligence." I love how they just kick that word around so loosely. We had intelligence that Israel was going to start the war, so we thought, well, we would make preemptive strikes to protect our people. Not necessarily. If they made a strike on Israel, or Israel made a strike on Iran, the United States could come out and say something like, "We don't condone this. We need to get back to the table. We need to talk about this. We need to find a satisfactory diplomatic resolution." But the mantra now, in this modern age, with people like Benjamin Netanyahu and Donald Trump, is shoot first, ask questions later. Anyways, I gotta go. That's my little muse for this morning. I hope you enjoyed it. If you have any comments, please put them in the comment section, as well as if you can give us a like or a share, and certainly a subscribe. We're trying to build a little audience for these podcasts, and we greatly appreciate and say thank you to everyone who's done so far. You have a great day. Bye-bye for now.